Oh, okay.
All right, welcome to Friday Night Live with John,
And Patty.
a tradition we started with COVID. We used to do in-house classes and COVID stopped that for a while and then we just kept going, which allows us to have clients from all over. Teresa's in Florida, Jane's in New Mexico. So it's really nice to be able to,
Maureen's in South
oh, that's right, Maureen's in
South
one of the
Carolina.
Carolinas.
South Carolina or North Carolina? I can't remember now.
No,
She'd like to forget too.
North.
Sorry, Maureen.
North
that's
Carolina.
okay.
She wishes she was back here, but you know.
Wish
Yeah.
she was in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And Carol's in no, don't tell me, Wisconsin.
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah.
And Judy's in New Hampshire. So yeah, there's only a few of us up here in the northeast, in the Massachusetts, Connecticut area. All right, moving on. So announcements, we have social media pages. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel and our recorded Zoom calls are you'll find on our YouTube channel. So if you want to join us, happy to have you there. We also have a private Facebook page for clients, people who are, done programs on programs. And that link, I have that at the end of the presentation. Coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
It's coming up.
Okay, thank you.
We always have gift certificates available for any purpose, any reason. If you know someone that you think could benefit from us, or if you've got a special day coming up and people don't know what to give you, just have them get a gift certificate for Alternative Health. We also offer custom meal plans. We base it on our legal foods list. You tell us what you don't like to eat, and we can create, we have a program that can create 3 meals a day and maybe a snack for 1 week or 1 month for one person, or up to 3 or 4 people. So if you're interested in that, you can let us know. And I apologize for my voice. I'm coming off a cold and it's settled in my voice. I don't usually talk like this. It gives you the recipes and a shopping list. So it's convenient if you're not sure about what to cook. And our next Zoom call will be Friday, May 16th, and the topic will be determined based on what do you want to learn about? We try to come up with ideas every month, but if there's something that you want to learn about, message us, put it in the chat, send us an email, and we can try to work with it. If you like us, like our services, like what we're all about, use this QR code and it'll bring you to the Google page, like our Google search page, and you can click on review and you can give us 5 stars, hopefully, and put a comment in there on what we're all about and how you liked what we did for you.
And for people that have been in business, you know how important that is. So, we're just asking people that if you feel like we've done a good job for you, do something for us. I would greatly appreciate it.
Because Google runs a lot, and if you have good reviews, it kind of helps you in search engines and all that techie stuff. All right. Turn it over to you.
Okay, welcome everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming and attending. I know it is Good Friday, and I'm going to make this short, but I do want people to ask questions if there's something comes up. And what we want to talk about today is emotions and what it does for our health, for it or against it. And oftentimes when people come into our practice, it's primary, they say, I want to lose weight, or I just want to feel better. And everything is kind of based on the physical aspect. Things that they want to fix and feel better. But in essence, what has to happen is that we need to understand that we have to do heal the whole body. And that includes the mind, that includes emotions. And we all have emotions. We have to have emotions. We have to have positive emotions and negative emotions. There's no such thing as that everybody is happy all the time. That doesn't, that is not true. So basically, when you start thinking about what is emotions, emotions is a natural and instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. So our moods are predicated upon many, many things. First, most of it's predicated based upon our growing up, what we went through as children. If we were in a happy family, everybody was happy and for the most part got along, your emotions are one way. If you were raised in a family of strife and anger, then oftentimes we grow up and we struggle with anger, we struggle with patience, we struggle with different things. So a lot of times people think that you know, my emotions are way off, there's something wrong with me. And no, it's not anything wrong with you. And we have to understand that there's a huge difference between having emotional problems and mental health issues. They are not related. You can have emotions way out of balance and still have and not be mentally unstable. And you can have mental issues and have good emotions. Okay. So we have to separate that thing. And it's not when somebody's angry all the time that, we have a tendency to think, man, they're mentally unstable. They're, mentally ill. That is not correct.
Mhm.
But what our topic tonight is going to be about is talking about emotions and what emotions do for us. Okay. We have to understand that the mind is the most powerful thing there is. And when it comes to diseases, we can almost guarantee that we can look at disease and almost always go back and say, what is going on with a person that emotionally? Because our emotions affect parts of our body, different organs, vertebrae, etc. And we're going to a little bit later show you a scan that we did on somebody and target the emotions and what organs or vertebrae or teeth, whatever it might be, that are affected based upon the emotion. So before I get a little bit more into it, and if somebody wants to ask a question, you can. But I have a little book that was developed by a doctor, and actually was a therapist and a doctor together. And they came up after many years of studying with virtually every single disease or situation health-wise that that you can come up with. And they targeted to the physical issue. So for example, I just want to use constipation. Okay. So people that have chronic constipation. Now, I'm not talking about the person that goes and eats wrong and gets bound up for a day or two and then releases. Okay. Evacuates. But people that have constant constipation, they're constantly fretting over things. They're unwilling to release old feelings and beliefs. They resist the flow of life. They block things that they want to say to people. In other words, they hold it in. They have a lot of feelings of anxiety, and they have a lot of unresolved problems, but yet they're determined to carry on. In other words, they know they have the problems, but they won't admit it, and they just keep pressing forward no matter what. And this little book goes on to just about everything that you can imagine, from diabetes, people that are dizzy a lot, things like pink eye, migraine, headaches, etc. So through the years of study, it is known that emotions create disease. Negative emotions, I should say, create disease. Positive emotions prevent disease. And most of you have heard, I'm sure, that the saying that laughter, every time you have a belly laugh, will add 10 minutes to your life because it calms the body and relaxes the body. So those are the things we're going to talk about. And if you have questions, then I want you to just reach out and ask the question that you might have. Okay. So basically, we need to balance the physical, mental, and emotional health. And that's what we at Alternative Health want to do. Balance the physical, mental, and emotional health. So,
All right.
okay, so we're looking at body, mind, and spirit, and a balance of all of them. None of them are going to be completely in sync with the other all the time. It is virtually impossible. You cannot do it. Now, there are certain things that we do and we preach day in and day out that we need to take care of, like proper eating, etc., will help all three of them. So you want to think of your overall well-being as a three-legged stool, okay? The seat, which is in the middle, represents you, and then the legs represent your physical, mental, and emotional health. Physical health is a general well-being of your body. Example, sleeping 7 to 9 hours each night, eating balanced meals and snacks, and being active, exercise. Mental health is a little bit more tricky, okay? But you kind of want to think of it all as a tag team. Mental health refers to your ability to process information. And emotional health refers to your ability to express feelings that are based upon the information you have processed. So you've all heard again that before you get angry, listen. Don't speak when you're angry. Those are all the things about emotional health that, our ability to express feelings, but based upon the fact that we have to process everything prior to doing it. Now, we have a need to attend all three legs equally in order to ensure that we are properly supported. Now, if you only target your physical well-being and you neglect the mind or the spirit, obviously you're cutting off one of the legs of your wellness or of your body. Now you can still be standing upright. You can stand on two legs, but it's going to be uncomfortable and a lot more difficult to support. So, as I mentioned before, the difference between mental health and mental illness is learn more about our brains. That's about the brain. And we have to shift from an old narrative that mental health or mental illness, I should say, is a character flaw and that mental health was optional. But in reality, we have to focus on the interconnectedness of mental, physical, and emotional health and the ways that our mental health is impacted by things like fear, trauma, chronic stress, and where we live, what we've learned, what we do for work, and play. Okay. So again, mental health and mental illness are two separate phenomena. But of course, they do intersect, of course. Okay. It is possible to have mental illness and still be mentally healthy by managing the symptoms and practicing holistic self-care. So, wellness, stress. I want to get into, you want to flip? All right. I want to get into stress. Okay. And the biggest problem with our emotions is stress. And what can stress do? Create high blood pressure, heart disease. Obviously, if you have high blood pressure long enough, you're probably going to have a heart disease. It can create a stroke, it can create diabetes, etc. So the problem with stress is that we all have it. And it's a matter of how we deal with stress. How do we cope with it? How do we handle it? And every day, I have people that come in talking about how stressed they are. And my question to most people is, what stresses you? What is it that stresses you? And I've heard everything from family, friends, finances, marriages, politics. I mean, you name it. Everybody has their thing that really creates stress. And what happens is we have a tendency to regurgitate the stress. We talk about it, we explain it to everybody else, we listen to ourselves talk about it, we just never abandon the idea that I can walk away from it. And lately, I've been getting a lot of people that talk about the stress of politics. Now, the thing that I need to try to stress, what I want to stress to people about stress is, if you can't change it, you have to let it go. If it's something stressing you that's on TV, if it stresses you out that on Florida State University yesterday, somebody shot some people, turn off the news. Because what happens is when we listen to the news, it's regurgitated over and over and over. And it's just like we're hearing it for the first time, but 50 times. And in our mind, it's like the whole world is coming to an end and everybody is shooting everybody. When in reality, it happened in one place by one unhealthy, mentally and or deranged individual. But we absorb it in our body and we can't let it go. And our inner power of our mind gets lost, and we cannot let it go. If it's about politics, the same thing. Turn off the news. If you want to watch the news cycle for 1 hour, whatever it is on your news, fine. But don't keep listening to it over and over and over. You cannot change it. And all you're doing is, and all we are doing to ourselves is destroying our body. And in a little bit, we're going to show you what anger does and what parts of the body it affects. Okay. And I'm just using anger as one part of it. Okay. But it can be anger, it can be grief, it can be jealousy, it can be so many things, but it's destroying our body. And yet, when we go into a medical community and we say, I'm hurting, my body is hurting, physical, we are looked at and given tests and we're said, you're fine. There's nothing wrong. But there is something wrong because it's not showing, because it's coming from the mind. It's coming from the tremendous amount of stress. And unfortunately, then we're given, if we start explaining ourselves to the medical community, they put us on antidepressants. They put us on medication to try to get us calm when we need to learn to calm ourselves. Okay. If a friend or a family member has been diagnosed with cancer or some disease, we need to look at things in a different way. Instead of doom and gloom, we have to say, here's what we're going to do, and this is a journey we're going to take to change that, to get rid of it. Okay. I have a raised hand, so go ahead, Anthony.
Hi, John. This is Nate.
Nathan, okay.
Hold on. Hold on. The phone's connected to the car. 1 second. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Hold on. It's still
Is it,
connected.
is it feeding back?
1 second.
Do you hear an echo?
No.
No, we can
No.
hear you.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Nate.
All right. No, I just wanted to add a term to this conversation. Just say something about that. About stress and how things are repeated over and over. When I was in high school, in a history class I was taking, this teacher of mine taught us this term, which I don't think is widely talked about. And I think it should be because it's something that suppresses a lot of people and keeps a lot of people in this loop of just nonstop stress in their daily lives. The term is an echo chamber. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Mhm.
But it's something we have to be very careful of. And I think it's something a lot of us experience on a daily basis now. I mean, all of us carry around cell phones. I don't know if everyone here has social media. I mean, if you have Facebook, Instagram, any of those, a lot of these algorithms are designed to keep you in an echo chamber.
Mhm.
They learn from your habits and they feed you content that you watch over and over. And so they are designed to keep you in this echo chamber. So something that I've done is I haven't been on social media in 3 years now. I've completely removed myself because it was very stressful, very toxic, and it instilled a lot of anxiety. So I just thought I'd put that out there. Echo chamber. I
One
thought,
way to
you
de-stress.
know, it could be, you know, something that other people need to hear to maybe
Get themselves out.
see a different point of view and get themselves maybe out of their echo chamber, whatever that is.
Thank you. Yes, that's
Really
very
good.
important. Echo chamber. And that's how they get you to buy things. I mean, if you think about it, if you go on social media or you look up something like luggage, every time you turn on something, your computer, your phone, you go someplace, you'll see all of a sudden things will pop up about luggage. So it's that repetitive thing. So again, when we get into stress and we keep on hearing the same thing over and over and over, Nathan's exactly right. It's like an echo chamber. And pretty soon we start believing that that's what's happening and that's what we need to hear. And it's so important that we turn that echo chamber off unless we can turn it on to something positive. Because we have to understand that when we start talking about stress and the impact, it can both be positive and negative. So if something happens and we can teach ourselves to look to the right side of it, okay, for example, Florida State University, if we can look and say, we don't know why this happened, but 2 people died. That's terrible. But there was thousands of people on the campus and that percentage is very low. So therefore, the joy of the fact that more people didn't get hurt by the fanatical person who did it. We have to learn to turn it around. And if we're going to have the echo chamber, it needs to be positive. Because the positive emotions like joy, happiness, laughter, that leads to the release of what is called endorphins, which actually reduces pain and improves mood. And if you find somebody who is always angry, they're always in pain. Always. It never fails. If somebody is grieving for some reason and just won't let it go, they're always in pain. They can't lose weight. Everything hangs on because that is what the body does. It tightens up and freezes. So when we get into these, as Nathan mentioned, the echo chamber of the negativity, guess what the body does? The body just tightens up and basically goes into a defense mode and just ties itself down and holds on to everything. And that is why people that are always under stress never get well. They stay sick all the time. No matter how hard they try, they never get well. I have a family member who can't get well. Okay. And I keep telling them this is the reason. You have to let go of some of this stuff, the worries and the what ifs. What if this thing happens? What if? We have to learn to let that go because that's causing stress. And the more you think about it, the more you try to research or look for it, the more times you hear it. And again, that goes back to that, which I think was an excellent thing that Nathan mentioned,
Yeah,
the echo
very good.
chamber. Okay. So think about it. You've got your phones, you've got your laptops, you've got your computers, you got your TVs, and happy things don't sell nearly as much as unhappy things or dangerous things. Okay. It's always the negative that people tune into. Why? Because we live in a world of fear. We live in a world of it's not harmony anymore. We have to bring our own harmony to ourselves. We have to keep the optimism and get rid of the negativity. All right. Okay. The transfer of energy is real. I talked to a young lady today, right before I came here out of West Hartford, and she came all the way from Rhode Island to see me. And we were talking about things about she's a healthy girl, except for the fact that emotionally she was raised in a family that was very strife driven, and she is very protective of letting people get into her world because she's afraid of being hurt, because the people she loved the most that took care of her, that should have been there for her when she was growing up, weren't there. They pushed her away, they abandoned her, different things happened. So the transfer of energy is real. And unfortunately, this person has a tendency to migrate to that kind of a world because that's what she knows. We migrate to the type of things that we know, even though it's bad. Give you an example. A young man is raised in a family where the father is abusive to the mother. Almost always, even though the little boy growing up tries to defend his mother, when he becomes married, more times than not, he will be abusive because that's what he knows. That's what he saw. That's what life really was. Same with alcohol, all those things. Our mind goes to what we know. Conversely, if we are around happy people, and I use this analogy, Patty's been working for me now for next month will be 20 years, right?
Right.
Okay. And I always marveled at her family because her family was so close. They're like connected at the hip. Okay. And I grew up in a family that was, we weren't connected to the hip. We weren't, we were, different counties. Okay. And I always marveled at how it must be. And I told her some of my stories of how I was raised, and she just hardly could believe it. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was times I'd talk about things that I went through as a child, it would bring her almost to tears. And she just couldn't understand how that could be. I, on the other hand, when I was around her family and seeing how close they were, her mother, her father, sisters, cousins, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe there are people like that, because my mind didn't understand that. I didn't think that was a real reality. I thought everybody was like my family. Conversely, Patty always thought everybody's family was like her family, right?
Right.
Loving and happy and hugging each other and all that stuff. Okay. Only time my family hugged is if you ran into each other and couldn't get out of the way. All right. And then you might get your butt kicked as a kid. Okay. So we have to be aware of where we came from. And then we have to try to migrate to what we feel we need to be. That's not this anger. So I always enjoyed being around Patty's family because it was like refreshing. It was a little, for me, I would say a little uncomfortable because I didn't understand it. Now, if she would have been around my family, I'm sure she
I would have been uncomfortable.
yeah, okay, she wouldn't understand that. So we have to be aware of what we are and what kind of relationship we're in. And there are times that we have to make changes. As hard as it might be, we have to sometimes walk away from situations that are not conducive to a good lifestyle. Because other people can destroy us. Because we will migrate to what they're doing and we will become part of them. And if it's on the negative, that's where our brain is going to go. That's where we're going to stay. And that's what we're teaching our kids and our grandkids, that what is right and or what is wrong. Okay, so the Chinese have always been ahead of natural healing, ahead of the rest of the world. All right. So it's called traditional Chinese medicine. And through the studies of years and years ago, before computers and before any of this stuff, all the technology we have now, they determined and understood that certain emotions are linked to certain organs. And emotional imbalances can manifest as physical issues, like I mentioned earlier, with anger associated to the liver, fear with the kidneys, joy with the heart, sadness with the lungs, and worry with the spleen. Now, the young lady that I was with today, when I scanned her, her first emotion that was out of range was sadness. Now, this young girl is only 25 years old, okay? And then as I looked at her organs, the lungs had no energy. And it never fails to amaze me how accurate that is. So when I asked her about being sad, she said, I don't think I'm sad. She said, everything's okay. So we started talking. And then she said, as a conversation went on, and anybody who's been around me much knows I ask a lot of questions, and I use those questions and listen to the answers so I can determine really what the person is doing. And as I asked her about how things were going in her life, she said, well, I don't really have any friends because I kind of stay away from people because I'm afraid of being hurt. Well, that's why she's sad. She doesn't have any friends. She wants friends, but she's afraid to have friends and that makes her sad. Okay. So she's sad because she doesn't have friends, but she's afraid to have friends because she's fearful that if she gets too close to people, they're going to hurt her. Okay. Yeah.
It's sad.
But that's the way life is. Okay. We want it, but we're afraid of it. So we push away the things we want, which because of fear or because of issues that we've experienced or we think, we assume that's going to happen, etc. And that, my friends, is creating problems with our lungs. The people that worry all the time. Do we have any worriers out there?
Mhm.
Okay. Those people will never have a strong immune system. Never. Because worry affects the spleen. The spleen and the thymus are the two organs that really govern your immune system because they govern the blood cells. So this is why some of the people hear me all the time saying, you have to let it go. You cannot fight it. You're not going to win the battle. You have to let it go or it's going to destroy you physically. Okay. So that's why we use the Zyto. Okay. That's why we use it so that we can see where the person is going and how they respond to different things based upon the organs and the emotions. So when we do it, I'm looking at organs, hormones, chemicals, what nutrients can balance the things, and along with the emotions. Okay, and I can look at all that stuff quickly and ascertain exactly what is going on and why certain things are happening, just simply by a 5-6 minute scan of the body. And that's how we can keep people well and show people the different things that they can. But lately, I've been scanning a lot of people lately where their organs aren't bad. They're becoming stressed, but their emotions are way off. And that is what's creating the organs and the spine to keep on moving. I had a gentleman call me yesterday and he had tremendous constipation and then doubled over in pain for a day and a half. Went to the doctor. They said there's nothing wrong, no blockages. Went home, all of a sudden had a bowel movement, and then a couple hours later had tremendous diarrhea. And I said, so tell me what you're thinking. What were you thinking emotionally? Well, he said, I was scared to death. I thought I was dying. The fear kicked in, and all of a sudden his body shut down. And then once he had the bowel movement, he relaxed and the body opened up and he was able to release and got rid of the diarrhea. But it was all because of worry and the fear. And he goes through this every so often because of his work. And he gets engrossed in his work, overdoes it, and then he has these problems, and it's a vicious cycle over and over and over. Now, me telling him to let things go and not worry about it is not the answer. We have to train ourselves to do it. When we get a thought, a negative thought, we have to learn to say, stop. What is the good part of this? For everything that happens negative, there is something positive. I'm convinced of that. But we have to learn to tell ourselves, and again, I'm so glad Nathan brought that up. We have to use the echo chamber, but from ourselves. So I'm going to tell myself, you know what? Somebody cut me off on the road and I almost got in an accident. But you know what the great thing is? I didn't hit them. They didn't hit me. I'm not hurt. I'm moving on. I'm on schedule. Everything is good. But it's too easy to say that son of a gun almost cut me off. He could have killed me. He could have killed other people, et cetera, get angry and try to chase them down or whatever. That would be the negative, instead of saying, you know what? That person's ahead of me. They're not going to bother me and everything is fine. That's the things that we have to start doing. And that's what we have to learn and study ourselves, because each one of us is different, the way we handle everything. Okay, so this was a scan I did. Name has been blotted out. Okay, so this person's emotions were stressed. So you can see helpless. Now, that doesn't mean the person is sitting around saying they're helpless. Okay, so one day I had a female and said hopeless, and the woman goes, I'm not hopeless. I go, no, I didn't mean that. Okay, but there's something in your mind, in this case, that this person, it was a he, this person just does not see they can change, they can't fix, whatever it might be. And that's up to that person to understand it. Some people will share with me a little bit. Some people won't. That's okay. Number two, they're exhausted. Now, exhausted doesn't necessarily mean you are sleep deprived, that you're not sleeping. Your body can be tired, whether it's emotional fatigue, physical fatigue, or spiritual fatigue. It can be any of those, or a combination of two of them or all of them together. All right. Anger. He's got some anger issues going. Greed. Greed does not mean the person is greedy. We never walk around in our mind saying, I'm greedy. Okay. If you do, we need to change that pretty quick. But normally what greed means is we feel we're being taken advantage of. We feel it. Is it real? I don't know that. But in that person's mind, they feel something. It could be family, it could be work, it could be a multitude of things, okay? And then sadness. So I always like to look at the top 5 stressed things when I look at emotions, okay? So the first thing was helpless. So if we go to the next one.
So we're going to break down what parts of the
Body.
the teeth, the spine, and the organs that are related to this.
So the
emotion.
person, the helpless feeling is affecting tooth number 10. Now, it doesn't mean tooth number 10 has a problem. We have to remember that. It means this emotion is putting stress on that tooth. Okay. In time, if that feeling stays there long term, it can destroy that tooth. All right. Next. Okay. Exhausted.
Kidneys.
It affects the kidneys.
Adrenals.
the adrenals. So, okay, so now you might say, okay, for those of you who don't know, maybe they understand the adrenals are the battery packs that the body has for energy. Okay. Now you say, okay, you're exhausted and you have no energy. That makes sense. It is, but exhausted, when the body's exhausted, whether it's physical or emotional, it's still draining the body of energy, physical energy as well. So that is where people can end up with adrenal fatigue. All right. And you get into adrenal fatigue. Medicine says, you know what? We need to put you on antidepressants. You need uppers. You need something to get you boost the energy. No, we need to fix what's going on in the mind
And the pituitary.
and the pituitary gland. Okay. And the pituitary is part of the brain. Okay.
And the bladder, urinary bladder.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another one.
Okay. The bladder. All right. So somebody that has to get up in the middle of the night 3-4 times to urinate, and it might be because they're mentally exhausted. So you would say, well, if I'm mentally exhausted, why wouldn't I just sleep? Not the way the body works. Okay. The bladder is being stressed. Therefore, it wants to relieve itself. It wakes you up, and you're probably not sleeping that well anyway, because you're mentally exhausted. Okay. If you're exhausted, the teeth, tooth number 7, tooth number 24, tooth number 10. 10's taking a hit.
It is.
Okay. Spine, if you're exhausted, the spine,
Oh,
it's affecting your upper lumbar.
lumbar, like
Yeah.
3, 5,
Yeah.
your sacrum.
Your sacrum. Okay. So a lot of times when you just feel run down, your back starts hurting. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Anger. A lot of anger out there. So we'll do anger. Okay. Look at the liver. Now, the liver controls so many things. That is why if the liver goes bad, you can enter into a state of diabetes. And there are people that get diabetes who say, I don't eat sweets. That can be very true.
Yeah.
Okay. It can be because not always based on your eating. It can be based on other things within the body.
And then the gallbladder.
Yep. The gallbladder is a protector of the liver. Greed. When we think we're being taken advantage of. The brain. Okay.
Intestines,
I'm sorry, what?
the large intestines,
Yeah. So we probably have trouble moving stools or end up with diarrhea.
the heart.
A heart. That creates anxiety.
Okay.
Okay. And a lot of times people don't share the idea that they feel they're being taken advantage of. They think, you know what? This is life. This is the way it's supposed to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Okay. And greed for the spine. We're talking about
Thoracic.
the thoracic. Okay.
Thoracic.
And thoracic and upper sacrum. And teeth. Number 1. Number 17. Which is primarily your wisdom.
Okay.
Okay. Sadness. The young lady today.
Your large intestines.
Yep. Well,
The
actually,
lungs.
small intestines.
The lungs.
Lungs.
You already mentioned.
Yep. And spine. Upper lumbar, lumbar 1. Thoracic.
Thoracic.
Cervical. And more thoracic.
There was a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of thoracic issues right around the low neck, right around the shoulder blades. And teeth, tooth number 13, 30, 18, 12, 19. Oh, a lot of teeth.
Mm.
And again, sometimes bad teeth aren't necessarily from always eating sweets and stuff. It can be from some long-term emotional issues.
Okay, so to wrap it all up, so those 5 emotions affecting those organs, those teeth, and those vertebrae.
And that's just from 5 emotions.
That's a lot.
And I scan people who have 10 emotions that are in the red. Okay, now you take all of those, and some of those emotions are doubling up on the kidneys, doubling up on the lungs, perhaps, or large intestines. So it puts more and more and more stress on the organs, the teeth, the vertebrae, etc. So how do we relieve it? Okay, we relieve it by we have to get some activity. We have to move. Unfortunately, what happens is we have a tendency when we get stressed to sit around and think about it. The more we think about it, the more look at this and see which one part you think would be best. We sit around, we think about it, and then we're inactive. We are thinking about it. We eat wrong because we're just sitting, being stressed. We have to regularly start reading, learning, utilizing our brain. If we don't change what we're thinking by doing something different, then we're going to have a problem. We have to rest. We do not have to be going 24/7. Okay. Sometimes I feel like a hypocrite telling people to rest. I'll be honest with you, but we do need to rest. Continuing some type of work. Don't stop. I see too many people that decide they're not going to work anymore and they quit everything. And then what happens? They deteriorate rapidly. All right. That's why I'm going to work till I'm 100. It's best to be surrounded by friends and family that we can be with, we can get along with. But friends or family that continually irritate us or upset us, you got to stay away from them. Participate in community activities if you have extra time. Stay connected to something, some people. And most important, in my opinion, is have gratitude. Gratitude for what we have. It's so easy to think about what we wish we had or what we don't have. But we need to have gratitude and thank the Lord. Whatever your belief is, thank for what we have and forget about the things that we don't have. Because I'm into reading scripture and, it says that if we look for all the monies and everything, we're going to lose. So don't worry about what you don't have. Just be thankful for what you do have.
I think this might be.
Which part? Okay. So emotional health really refers to a person's overall well-being and ability to manage their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in a healthy manner. And it encompasses awareness of emotions, is recognizing and understanding one's own emotions, both positive and negative. Okay. It's okay to have negative emotions, but they can't last. You can be upset with somebody. Somebody said or did something that upset you. It's okay to have a negative emotion, but it can't be carried on long term. There's say a happy marriage is never going to bed angry. Okay. I don't know if that's possible or not. I don't know, but we have to work at striving some of that. Regulation of emotions, controlling and expressing emotions appropriately. We have to learn to bite the tongue. And I hope I don't offend anybody, but I always go back to my scripture readings. The tongue is like the oar on a boat. It controls everything. It's small, but it controls the direction. It controls everything. And once you let it out, you can't bring it back. You say something that you didn't mean to say, you can apologize, you can be remorseful, but it still is said and it still hurts somebody. Okay. You cannot let your emotions regulate and overwhelm or interfere with your daily life. Resilience, bouncing back from setbacks and coping with challenges. Okay? As I told this young lady today, you have to let yourself be around people, get to know people. But just know some of those people are going to disappoint you. Some of them are going to hurt you. Some are going to make you feel bad. But that's okay because that's how we learn. So we have to understand that when it happens, we have to rebound. It's okay. Doesn't make that person bad. You don't even have to think about it. You just don't want them in your life. That's all right. But you do it with grace and dignity. Positive self-esteem is one of the harder ones, I think. Having a healthy sense of self-worth and confidence. I don't think there's any person I've ever met that doesn't have some part of their life where they lack confidence. Okay? But it's okay. If you thought you were the best at everything, you'd be hard to live with, I think. Okay? So, but we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, you're okay. You were put on this earth for a reason. It didn't happen by accident. You're here for a reason, a purpose, and we have to understand that we are valuable to some people. Not everyone, but we are valuable. I would love each and every person to just take them one-on-one and sit down and say, who have you helped in your life? Or talk to people that have been around you and just listen to the things that people say, you know what, with this person, they did this for me. And I just think the world of them. So we have to get away from the idea that everybody has to love us, because not everybody is going to do that. We just have to know that we have to take care of ourselves and know that we have a lot of self-worth. Interpersonal skills, building and maintaining supportive relationships. We have to just keep always working on building ourselves and the people around us and reaching out to them and seeing what we can do to help them, guide them, show them a way, and pick them up when they're down and hope that they'll do the same thing for us when we're down. Because we're all going to get down sometimes. Don't ever think you're not. We are. And the more you help somebody else, the more they're going to help you. So, emotional health is an essential part of overall mental health and well-being. It influences how people cope with stress, make decisions, and interact with others. That's what emotional health is all about. And some of you know we have an EVOC session, which we scan, and it tells us some of the things that people need to work on, emotions. It tells us, the young lady today, I scanned her on this. We didn't work on it because we didn't have time. But her number one thing that she needed to work on was that she did not believe that she was capable of having a personal, intimate relationship. And when I asked her if she believed that, she said, yes, absolutely. I just can't. And that's because she's been hurt too much. That's the kind of things we do. And once we get down to one office, we'll be able to do this more because I will be available much more than I have been. Right?
Right. All right.
Go ahead, talk.
The biocharger is a machine that we have. Okay.
Yeah.
That it's these four things. It's light, frequency, voltage, and pulse electronic magnetic fields. It's things that are out in nature that we don't get enough of. Biocharger creator says that 93% of humans spend way too much time indoors. There's not enough of outdoors, not enough sunlight. So the biocharger mimics these four things. So light, get on the path to optimize wellness by using light energy to boost nutrient absorption, enhance rejuvenation, elevate mood, improve sleep quality, and promote healthy skin. So the machine that we have, the biocharger machine, you just sit by it. And you relax. Some of our clients have done it. And it just brings energy to your cells. There's certain recipes that can target whether it's pain or emotions. We had a client that just called yesterday and he said, can I come in today? And he did one, it's called Alpha Wave. It's just about the brain and getting him thinking right. Frequencies and harmonics. It's experience the transformative power of frequencies harmonics that can elevate your mood and cognition, boost your energy levels, and accelerate your body's ability to recover. And that's one thing that we all need more of. We need to have our bodies recover, whether it's from emotions or physical or both, because they affect each other. The voltage is like lightning, right? It's getting your body again to revitalize and rejuvenate, better cognitive function, leading you to a more vibrant and fulfilling life. And the pulse electronic magnetic fields, it's like walking barefoot on the earth. Okay, which if we're not outdoors enough, we don't get it. So it's again promotes faster recovery, relieve daily irritations and optimize cellular health. And that's what we need to do, is get our cells healthy, to get our body and our mind and spirit healthy. So the biocharger, we have that in our Southwick office. It's the only machine. We only have the one machine. It's always been here. So those of you who will be coming here from West Hartford, can have a chance to try it out. Sessions can be 7 minutes. Sometimes that's all we need. It's a 7-minute boost to our cells. And it also, we can use the Zyto scan to scan you to see what biocharger recipe your body needs.
It's amazing what it can do.
And I mentioned earlier our private Facebook page. This is the QR code to get to that, or the URL to get to that. If you want to join us there, we just share positive thoughts, recipes, just foods. I share what I'm eating. John makes fun of it, and then we go from there. It's kind of a fun page.
And every time you come into our office, you need to take a positive affirmation. When you take it, it's your energy for that day that you're here. Don't throw it back in. You put it in your pocket and keep it. Everything is positive. Everything's got to be positive. There's too much negativity. Okay. You got to stay positive. Okay. Let's open up. Anybody have any questions?
Comments, thoughts?
I just,
Teresa, you're muted if I think you're trying to talk, but you're muted.
it's Carol, and I was
Okay,
just,
Carol.
I was just gonna say, this is exactly what I needed today. It was really, really good. And I thank you for discussing all this. Super important.
Wonderful.
You're welcome.
Glad we could help.
The
Who else?
biocharger, is that light section similar to, you hear about light therapy for in the wintertime when there's less light and it helps with depression?
Similar, but this is much more, there's much more to it than that. Yes. But it's that plus much expanded. So many different areas and recipes. There's probably
There's thousands.
thousands of recipes. So we can scan and it'll tell us somebody has a virus, and it'll go to that recipe and we put them in front of it. So yes, similar, but this is much more expanded. Teresa, do you have a question? You're still muted. Can you unmute her or not?
No, you need to unmute, Teresa. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
Well, I'm interested I'm actually interested in this whole recording. Is there a way that I can get it so I can play it over and over?
Sure,
And
yes.
perhaps it can help others,
Mhm.
because this is, I tell you, this is a God thing for me. And I know he wants me to live because there's work for me to do still.
And even with the book, John, that you were talking about, I would like to get the title of that and just order that so I can read, because I'm interested in not just myself getting healthy and all that, but helping others as well. Okay.
It's called Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die.
Okay.
It's by Carol with a K, Karol Truman, Truman.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha. And
Now,
even that meal plan you were talking about, Patty,
Mhm.
I would love to get that.
Okay,
Because I'm seeing that, the different things that are going on with me. I need to get more aggressive.
Yes.
You do.
and I
Yeah.
think, so if you don't mind, Teresa, I just want to say something. If you don't, is it okay if I say something about
yes.
you? Okay.
Yes.
We've got a couple people on here tonight that are battling some health issues. And I would like to ask everybody just to say a prayer for everybody, but especially for Teresa and Maureen. Okay. Maureen's getting ready to have some surgeries and stuff. And I just would like everybody to just say a silent prayer for them, or whatever your means of communicating. But I want everybody to pray for each other, but especially tonight for those two people, if you would.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
And Teresa, the recording, by Tuesday, it'll be on our YouTube channel, and I always email everybody that was on the call,
Okay.
and with the link. And I will make note of the name of that book too for you.
Well, that is perfect, because for years, it just, and you're bringing it closer to my understanding, that I knew that the body and the spirit were attached, some kind of way, and that health, all what you were saying, you just brought it together, and it's like,
Right.
wow.
So Teresa, think
Yes.
about this. In the Bible, it says the body is the Lord's temple, right?
Right.
It's not, and it's the whole body, spiritual, physical, everything. Okay. So that's why we preach all the time. Take care of yourself, take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
And I found out one more thing. I found
Mhm.
out because when you did Zyto me, and then you were saying something about anger, and I was trying to figure it out. Because at that moment, it's just maybe it was definitely in the subconscious. But when I really tap into the scripture where Jesus says, get the beam out of your eye before you can help others, get the mote. And then I really had to search myself and get an understanding of me and the human nature. And I found out that forgiveness is very powerful.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you mentioned anger. Think about this. Somebody gets diagnosed with a disease, and a lot of times people become angry. So
Right.
now if you have a disease and now you're angry, you're actually really destroying your immune system by being angry,
Right.
which is going to deter your healing because of the fact that you have anger.
Right. 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 Okay.
Somebody just messaged you, recommend a grounding mat. I'm not necessarily for it or against it, to be honest with you. I just don't necessarily, they have the grounding mats, they have bedding sheets now they're supposed to ground. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. I think we just need to ground ourselves. That's just my own personal opinion.
So you don't have a take home version of that bio
The
machine?
biocharger, no.
Nope. When I bought it, I was going to move it from office to office, but you just can't. It just was too big,
Very,
too cumbersome.
You're actually
just-
1,200
It's
miles
fragile.
away.
You're just gonna have to come up here and visit us sometime.
It's very
Yeah, I
fragile.
gotta get back there.
Okay. Okay, is there any other question before we do our drawings? Okay, we're gonna do our drawings every week or every class we have. I put everybody's name in here. They're all in here. And we're gonna have 4 prizes. The first one is $100 gift certificate. You can use it for products, services, whatever you want. But you have to use it before the end of business on the, what's